So I have begun the recording, so everything you say will now be sent directly to the FBI, and you will be put on their most wanted list. Because
as if
like a normal day.
yeah, as if I wasn't already.
So this is the How Long to Beat podcast, and you might have just heard a voice that you are unfamiliar with, because we have our very first guest host for the show. Go ahead and introduce yourself, friend.
My name's Anthony. I have the very prestigious title of first guy to message you guys.
So prestigious.
You're gonna get a trophy in the mail that has first guy to message us.
I am, not a very interesting person, but I like discussing interesting games and stuff like that, and I thought I'd like the podcast, so I figured, you know what, why not?
Yeah. And I mean, it works out well that you have a very podcast-friendly voice. So we got that going for you.
You don't sound like a demon, I guess, so...
Is that like compared to Rick and I, do we sound like
Oh,
demons?
definitely.
Speak for yourself, is what I'm gonna say.
Alright, so, boy, have we got a show for you. Isn't that like what the
From
VeggieTales...
VeggieTales.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's what the
from
VeggieTales
straight up
say.
VeggieTales.
That'll be
Are you serious? You have literally never seen VeggieTales?
Me? No, I have.
VeggieTales.
Yeah, VeggieTales.
Oh, he
It's
hasn't seen VeggieTales.
You're like, if you had Catholic parents, they would like force you to watch that shit.
I
and they
lived
would
in the
just be
UK.
like-
We didn't have the Satan scare.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was pretty good.
So I'll just give you the breakdown. VeggieTales is...
Baller.
It is pretty baller, I'll be honest. It's like CGI from like the very early days of CGI, so it's all like
So good.
janky and you can like see their body parts. I mean, body parts, they're vegetables. But like their eyes are like phasing in and out and stuff. And it all just looks
that's
really
sweet.
slimy and stuff. But it's great. There's Larry the Cucumber and Bob the Tomato.
And for some reason, there's a whole bunch of TF2 videos about VeggieTales, and I was like, I really don't know where it came from or why it's a thing, but it is.
If you really want to immerse yourself, I do recommend that you check out Silly Songs with Larry on YouTube.
I'm
Because
there.
Larry
Or
the
you could
Cucumber.
not.
It is. I'm watching some asparagus dance over a green background with like a karaoke thing across the bottom.
That's pretty nice.
I would
Yeah, I'm
say-
gonna come back to that later. I think.
Yeah, I mean, top tier is You Are My
So good.
Cheeseburger. No, I guess like
No, rubber,
toppest
rubber
top is-
But burgers aren't a vegetable. What the?
the toppest of the top tier is probably the classic Oh, Where Is My Hairbrush?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I always like the one where they're interpreting for like the hippo or something like that.
I don't
Something
recall
like
that
that.
one at the top of my head, but we are getting way off
Way
track.
off track.
What are you on about? This is like the ad hoc segment, something Rick hasn't heard of or played.
I wonder if there are VeggieTales video games.
I don't want it.
There's
Like,
probably
no,
one
thank you.
about like Larry Boy fighting the rumor weed. Anyway, I'm gonna stop
If there's
now.
a flash game for the room, there's a game for VeggieTales somewhere.
So anyway, I'm Kerf. Go ahead, you twerps, introduce yourselves,
What?
and then we'll get on to the main event.
So I am Rick, aka the glue that holds this together, and we have with us Toast, who's wearing a hoodie that really is only appropriate for an audio-only show.
Hey, it is super cute. It says lazy on it.
That is cute. It looks like it's like
so-
the Lay's
It's
symbol.
Lay's. It's so cute, and it's got nutrition facts on the back. It's so cute. Fuck you, and no one likes you.
That's pretty creative.
It's clearly off-brand. They're called Walkers. Oh my god.
Like, well, it's Korean, so it totally is off-brand.
Alright, so let's go ahead and start the interview now, or we will never, ever end.
We didn't even introduce the guest, did we?
We did. That was
Oh,
literally.
we
the
did.
first-
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we just like introduced the host, and so we introduced everybody but him.
That's staying in. I'm not editing that out.
Did you actually say your name, though?
He didn't.
I did,
Yeah, he
Anthony.
did.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Maybe. I
Anthony,
really don't know.
we, the proverbial ball has been dropped about 12 times over already. That being said, who would like to ask the first question?
Me, because I've got a super secret one that I want to get out of the way because it's burning a hole. So we like to keep it light. So the first podcast question: what is your take on the Israel-Palestine situation?
Holy crap!
No, I'm joking. So the first question, and it's only slightly less treacherous ground: rank the regular hosts from most favourite to least favourite, and show your working. Tell us why.
Okay. Okay, I was gonna make a joke. I was gonna be like one of the VeggieTales characters, but I can't remember the name. So, but I think you all are number one.
No, come on, we don't have that cop-out shit here. You can give us a proper ranking.
All right, you want it? I think I may rank Rick the highest just because he really throws a lot of different things around. There are a lot of controversial opinions being thrown around when he's talking.
Well, I guess that's the gauntlet being dropped.
What did I say? I'm the glue. That's what it is.
On entertainment value alone.
Unfortunately, Rick, I think we've covered in previous episodes that if anything comes between this podcast and my ego, then it goes out the back door. So, we'll be calling you.
So you were saying that Kerf is the best, right?
Basically, that's what I was trying to say, was that Kerf probably ranks number one.
Ah, okay. I'll just put my nuclear option away now.
Have any of you seen The Weakest Link?
Isn't that a stupid British thing?
It is, but
it's a Doctor Who thing as well.
Says on The Weakest Link, we have to accept the first answer.
Well, you are the weakest link, so goodbye.
Got him.
So I'm actually going to jump in with my super secret question, which is actually along similar lines. Who is your favorite host and why is it Kerf Murph? But I believe that's already been answered, so we can go ahead and move on.
I don't have a super secret question like that because I'm not an asshole. So I didn't even write that down.
Jealous.
I appreciate that.
Because I honestly don't want to know.
That's a pretty good view on the topic.
Alright, should we move on before everyone's super uncomfortable more than they already are?
Alright, well, why don't you just go ahead with a question,
My
Toast.
question? Okay.
Yeah.
How did you first get into video games?
I think my first video game console was like a Wii, because my dad bought it, randomly. And then I really liked them, and just played more. I think I may have got I don't know, did the DS come out before that? I may have gotten a DS.
Yeah, the DS.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
I think I got a DS for Christmas one year or something. With Lego Indiana Jones on it. That was pretty baller. So,
how are the Lego games for like handheld consoles? I've only ever played one.
Lego Indiana Jones was really good, actually.
I never played any but Lego Indiana Jones because, well, for the DS, I played some on actual consoles, like home consoles.
I love the audible hiss from Rick.
It was more sharp intake of breath.
But yeah, so either in Lego Indiana Jones or Wii Sports, because I don't even think my dad like got a proper game for it. He just like heard about it and he's like, "All right, I'm getting the kids the Wii. That's the new rage."
It was a Furby before, now it's this.
The natural progression of things.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well let's just go in order then. Rick, you take the next question.
Okay, is it not your... Oh, you had your super secret one, didn't you? I'm with you. So, what is your desert island game? If you could only play one game for the rest of your days, what would that one game be?
I'm tempted to say Okay, can you mod the Desert Island game?
Yeah, you do whatever you want with it, but that's the only game you've got.
Minecraft, then. There's a lot of possibilities in Minecraft for anything, really. So, if not that, maybe as a proper game by its own merits, Factorio. I don't know if any of you have heard of Factorio.
I've played it.
Game.
You're
I
going
love
to be
it.
doing a lot of waiting. Just like you're just going to be waiting around for a long time for things to happen. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Let the others of us who have not played Factorio in on the loop.
Okay, yeah. So it's you build a factory. You have your basic resources, kind of just like Minecraft, really. Which are coal, which you mainly use to fuel stuff. Oil, which you use later, and iron and copper and stone. Stone's pretty useless for a while, but you build an automated factory, and it's like you build stations that mine resources from those, and then you connect them. So basically what you want to do in this game is make stuff into other stuff, and then have that stuff be other stuff again. And it gets a lot more, it gets complex. That's basically it at its core. But the journey there is pretty tough, because you have to interconnect everything, and you have machines that craft one thing into another. You have to link them all together so that it makes another more complex product. And there's a lot of depth to that game, and there's a lot of mods too, which can expand the depth like a ton. So you should probably Google an image of it to get an idea of what.
It's very stylistic and brown. Very brown.
Very
Okay,
brown.
I know
words
people
that don't normally go together.
People don't like the art style. People are like, "Oh, the art style's gross." I love that art style, and like the old Baldur's Gate and Fallout CGI 2D art styles. They're so great. I love them.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that. That's cool.
It gives me very SimCity vibes.
You know how
Basically.
in cell phone games you kind of have like an energy system? You don't have that in Factorio, but what you do have is time for waiting on resources that you need to get to build other things.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like that. So you're waiting on things.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of waiting involved.
Yeah, because to be able to build more stuff, you have to research certain stuff to unlock the ability to build it. So, and you have to manufacture research for those things too. And I love. I've spent hours just tidying up my factory. It's so beautiful to see it all working in tandem.
I just made a really shitty one and like happy with that.
There are two kinds of people.
The spaghetti factory is a very popular term.
Where
Where it's just like a giant line.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
All
Go on,
right.
Tess.
Then let's see. If you had the means to make your own video game, what would it be like?
I actually do have the means, which
Oh, wow.
is funny. It's because you don't really have to have too much to have the means. You just like download Game Maker or something. But I kind of want to make an RPG one day, but one that isn't like, or maybe an adventure game, but one that's not like traditional, one that kind of messes with the tropes and stuff, and one that's, I don't know, more based on like creative inspiration. It's a hard concept to kind of visualize for me, because I've made games for a class before, and a lot of the time they were pretty boring once I made them, because I knew what I wanted to do, and I'm like, okay, well, I did it, and that's basically all it was. If I had the means to make a big game, though, I would love to make a game in the Fallout universe that wasn't garbage, like pretty much where the series is going. Like, maybe a New Vegas 2, but in the style of the original ones.
So you
That
want
was
like to make another Fallout CRPG?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, not Fallout Rust Edition, aka 76, is what it's looking like. Yeah,
Cool.
I guess.
As a corollary question, I don't know if I'm using that word properly, but are the games that you have made available anywhere for people to play?
No, they're just on like, they're like 5-minute little Unity games, because we had to use Unity for that class. So it's like, but I will say it's this kind of off. This isn't directly related, but I love the programming involved in game making. That's like my favorite thing about it. So it's, well, Factorio is a lot like programming actually, but yeah, my games, they're not available anywhere because they're pretty, you wouldn't want to play them anyway, because it's like it's not even like they're creative little indie ideas. They're literally just me making a player controller for like a 2D platformer.
What the professor told you to do, like
Yeah.
the very common ones are like the snake games. And like...
Oh, I've made all those too. Yeah, those Rollerball. Yeah, you want to download Rollerball and play it?
I've actually made a Brick Break game before, and that was the first game I ever programmed, was a fucking Brick Break.
Alright, Toast. Your turn.
Oh, yes, I shut my sketchbook, so I have to figure out where it was.
I have your questions here if you want the next one.
What's a game
questions?
What's a game everyone should play and why?
That's kind of very difficult for me to say, because it depends if I want them to play it for like, you should play this to better yourself, or you should play this because everyone's going to find it fun. But going on the second one, because it's a little bit easier to think of, I'd probably say... I'm going to look at my Steam list real quick. And there's some gems in there. You know, Valiant Hearts. It's a very recent game I played, but Valiant Hearts, I don't know if any of you played it. Is that the
art one set in World War One?
Yes. It doesn't require very much from a gameplay perspective. It's pretty simple, but it tells a fantastic story, and I think anyone can play it. Anyone, really, because it's very easy too. So, Valiant Hearts, is actually one of my recently beaten. I love that game. So.
Okay. So next one, what are your hobbies outside of gaming?
Oh, I do not do much, but I do make. I produce music. I like sound design, and I've also dabbled in editing before, but that was a while ago, and I don't really do it anymore because I got bored. So, yeah, you can find my music at annisalive.bandcamp.com. Not sure literally anyone listening to this podcast would like it, because it's kind of out there, so I'll leave it at that. But I like
how
electronic.
am I spelling Anne?
ANNE.
When you say out there, what do you mean? Because I listen to a lot of shit.
It's, well, I try to experiment. That's a pretty good buzzword in music, is experimental. But I try to experiment, and I try to make some stuff that like no one's really. It doesn't sound like something anyone else has made. In turn, I enjoy it, but I am sure there are plenty of people who would be turned off by it, because it's not me in my garage making indie rock. It's me on my computer messing with effects in FL Studio.
Well, I will definitely give it a listen later, and I will put a link in the show notes when the show goes up.
I've got a
think
tab
that's
up
pretty
right
right.
next to my VeggieTales silly song for Larry to get back to.
I'll say you probably would spend your time better listening to the VeggieTales covers
Oh, don't
because
say
those
that.
are those are pretty good assured quality.
Oh, don't say that.
What you really need to do is just make like an EP of VeggieTales song remixes. I mean,
I might, yeah.
You could totally do like some vaporwave lo-fi VeggieTales.
some like vaporwave. God is bigger than the boogeyman.
I would 100% listen to that as well.
I
Sorry.
might do that.
If you do the cheeseburger song, you will make so much bank.
I am
Sorry, go on.
liable to do that.
If you do, please let us know, and we will definitely put it as like intermission music or something.
Dude, okay, that's it. I'm doing it.
If you can get it done,
Yes,
if you can get like a 24-hour turnaround, I can edit it in tomorrow.
that might be too soon.
You know what? I can get you a 6-hour turnaround. Not
Oh
even
my
kidding.
god.
Hey, challenge accepted.
I'm
If you can do
slightly
it, it'll go
worried
in.
but optimistic.
And just while we're on the lo-hi beats to study and relax to, something that I saw
Yes.
the other week, and I just really want to share it. Are any of you familiar with the comedy show The IT Crowd?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll remember the moment when Moss was working in the office while it was on fire, and you just have clips of him at the laptop, and then he looks up at the fire, and he just goes back to his computer. Channel 4 had a 24-hour radio stream going, and it was lo-fi beats to study and relax to. Also, the office is on fire. So it's that looped image of Moss over and over, just with that kind of music behind it, and it's the most surreal thing I've ever seen.
That's nice. I like that.
It's good. But yeah, so Kurth, you're up.
All right. Let's see. What are the best and worst pizza toppings?
Funny story. I tried pineapple on pizza, and I was
Not good.
pretty impartial to it. Didn't really like it. It
Yes.
just kind of didn't go very well with the pizza. But worst pizza topping? I don't like olives. I've never had olives on a pizza, but I don't think it tastes very good. Don't think dirt would taste pretty good. But I also most pizza is slathered in oil anyway, so I think sausage goes pretty well with it because that's just like the most oily, disgusting meat you can possibly put on there. So it tastes pretty good, and then, I mean, pepperoni is basically sausage, isn't it? I imagine cheese would be... I've never tried it. I imagine cheese would be pretty good on a pizza. Not too sure about that one.
You've never had cheese
You've
on a
never had...
Yes, yeah, I'm joking.
Oh, okay. I was like, holy crap, what kind of pizza have you been eating?
And I will give a shout out to stuffed crust. There have been times where stuffed crust pizza has really put me in another dimension. It's really
Holla.
pretty great. So,
Have you
Yeah.
had, I think they call them, in Michigan they call them pasties, but I think other places they call them, calzones.
Tony, yeah.
yeah.
It's pretty much a stuffed crust pizza inside of a stuffed crust. That's so good.
I was... Funny story, I was in Seattle, and I was like, I really want to just try the best calzone in the city. And then went to the video game store, and I'm like, screw this. And then I just ate a shawarma from 2 places over. But I want to try a calzone.
I thought you were getting
sometime.
a shawarma from the video game store.
Wait, what's a shawarma?
It's... I'm not quite sure. It's it has a
You
lot of...
ate it? You're not quite sure what it is?
It's a Mediterranean something or other. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
hero, right, or something.
I've never had one of those.
It's meat and it's some incarnation of meat and bread, really. It didn't make much of a difference when I ate it, but it's good if you eat it from the right place. Mediterranean
Those of you
food's
that have
great.
just tuned in, you're listening to the How Long to Eat podcast.
Honestly, if there was a podcast just talking about eating food and the experience of eating food, I want in now.
I'm sure there are.
I'm sure there's many, many.
Because food is the only thing that trumps my love for video games.
Fair enough.
So I do have some incarnation of meat and bread as a possible title for the episode. We'll see where the episode takes us, though.
Toast, I think you're up.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. What's your favorite game and why?
For a long time, it was Pokemon Heart Gold because that's like the best one. But it's kind of hard to say. On a broad note, I would probably say TF2 could be up there because it's very fun. Fallout New Vegas also could be there, and Factorio could be there. But you know what? I think I'll say Minecraft because I was really into that, and I don't think the appeal of it has faded away with time like a lot of other games. It's still a pretty good game.
It is kind of one of those things you could just like play for the rest of your life, as evidenced by your Desert Island question.
True.
Yeah.
Good observation.
So I don't think I could, I think I would probably pick it up for maybe an hour or two. I don't think I could play it on end, though.
Well, if you wanted, you could just mod it into another game completely. So, you got that option, too.
I've never played it. I probably never will.
Okay, well, if it's not your type of game, then.
Yeah, are you sure he's your favorite host?
He's coming after you.
He's not my favorite host because it's on entertainment value. Because he gets you guys to react.
Do you think?
Maybe. I don't know.
I see.
Yeah, Toast, stop reaching.
He just breaks us so much
as a result of his actions. I see.
You know what? Well, maybe when I'm put on the spot and people just say, pick one of 3 human beings, it is a little hard to say definitively that you just like somebody better than everyone else. So that's a little.
Corner, Anthony. You
no.
And your gut was right.
And those bullies tried to get an answer out of you. Who was the only one who did it?
Fair enough. That's a fair point.
We're like children trying to ask our mother who her favorite child is.
It was always me.
Question again, ever.
All right, so
I think it's me now, and this is one.
Yeah, it is.
That I've always asked whenever we've done an interview like this, and it's one I'll continue to ask, and it is, what is your favorite book?
You literally forgot about it.
I know what you're talking about. It was in there. You can go back in the Discord. It's still in there. What's your favorite book, Anthony?
Okay, well, funny story. I keep saying funny story. It's not even a funny story. It's not even really a story. I haven't... all my life, I haven't been, a huge reader. Recently, I've started reading. Right now, I've just started The Idiot by Dostoevsky. Pretty great. But, I'd say my favorite book is probably 1984, and I would say that based on the merits of just its ending, I loved its ending so much because it wasn't afraid to. It's hard not to spoil it. It wasn't afraid to make something happen because all the time, it's say you're fighting to swim, and most stories would have you successfully swim and be like the hero. Instead, it shows more realistically someone kind of drowning. That's kind of spoilery, but I will say it's just a fantastic book. And
Sorry, go on.
No, I just love it so much. I love the writing. I want to read Animal Farm sometime too. I read that. I read in English last year. I read the story where he's shooting the elephant. Any of you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know the one. I haven't got around to reading it yet.
It was pretty nice. I didn't get bored with it for an English class thing, so that's saying something. So.
Well, Orwell's a phenomenal writer, and I think what you touched on with 1984, and you'll see a similar thing when you get around to Animal Farm, which I just actually reread, funnily enough. He's not afraid to utterly crush the protagonist or the focal point of the story. And given that he often sort of writes in terms of cautionary tales, he's not afraid to show you sort of the absolute rock bottom. and make you sit there and not give you sort of a light at the end of that tunnel, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is really good, because I think too many writers nowadays, they fall in love with their main character. And they just don't want anything to hurt them because they're so precious, and it's just like, no, just like kill them.
Yeah, the dude from 1984 is literally just like some working class, like, it's like if you just randomly picked up somebody. Well, except for one little quirk about him. I'm sure.
Yeah, he's mostly unacceptable.
But he's pretty unexceptional in most respects. So, yeah.
Well, Toast, I'll have to get you to read some of my work someday, because I torture my characters so badly.
Is that your ego coming back out? No one can ever be in a better position.
Maybe I do have a god complex. Thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
Well, I'll say writing is a pretty productive way of flexing the god complex.
Same with drawing.
Too true.
Same with
Well, anything,
art.
really. Yeah.
Do you get a god complex out of making music at all?
The opposite, because I see now. This isn't me being egotistical. This is me recognizing the pattern of things. There are a lot of people with a lot less musical ability than me who do not care one bit, who are very successful. So, in that sense, I do not get a god complex out of it at all. But closest I get is saying, "Hey, that was pretty neat. That VeggieTales lo-fi vaporwave I made."
I think that could be your gateway. You do a good job. That could be what launches the career.
Literally, there's a dude who made a Caillou rap, and he's literally like famous now. And all he did was like,
that sounds like
Kai. Yeah, it was like literally just like motherfucking Caillou, and it was like now he's famous. It's not horrible.
There you are, that's the podcast title. Fucking Caillou. Or was it
Fucking God.
Definitely not putting that on our ostensibly PG-13 podcast, but
Honestly, though, anyone who's ever watched Caillou is just like, yeah, fucking Caillou, he's the worst. Like, he's awful.
I still haven't got a clue what you're talking about. But
You've never seen Caillou?
I've never seen him either.
he's just this
Just in
bald
memes.
little bastard.
Yeah, he's so awful.
I didn't realise it was a he for the longest time.
Yeah, it's like a Canadian cartoon, and it's just like the worst thing that ever existed. And my mom, for some reason, she thought I loved it, so she had me watch it, and she's like, I hated it. And it's just like we both hated it, and we were both watching it, because we thought the other person liked it, and it's just like we spent years doing that.
Nice.
Man.
How do we get on these tangents? Whose question is it?
It's yours.
It is?
Yeah, it's yours.
Ah, okay. Let's see. Which video game location would you most like to vacation at?
Ooh, that's a
Is it a funny story?
Yeah, it's gonna be
funny story.
Hey,
Now that you
yeah.
mention it. Maybe Rapture. That's a pretty good contender.
In like its heyday?
That
or...
wasn't a serious like suggestion.
In its heyday, Rapture
Oh,
seems
okay.
like a pretty cool place. There's also Dark Souls. I know it's like medieval. It's pretty generic setting, but like some of the locales in the Dark Souls games are beautiful, beyond beautiful.
Blighttown is really cool.
I would vacation in Blighttown, and probably, I bet they have a lot of mosquitoes there. Never mind.
Yeah.
Or the depths of hell. In Dark Souls, basically. They got the depths of hell there, which is pretty good. But, so either, maybe the Rapture, because I don't think about stuff like that. It's kind of hard for me to do. Or, you know what, if I could walk around my own Factorio factory, that'd be pretty cool too. Just walk around it in first person. Yeah, there's also, of course, Fallout Universe. If there's a way to vacation where you're just like, you just can't feel pain, you have the giant shield around you, that would be pretty cool type of thing.
Ten
Or
Penny
maybe
Towers wouldn't be too bad to vacation to. If you were just going to like a location, 10 Penny wouldn't be too bad.
yes.
Depends on what stage of the quest line you're at.
You could
Let's
say
say
so.
you're a human and it's not been taken over.
Okay, that would be not bad, except your lifespan would probably be halved because you're living in a radioactive wasteland.
Details.
Yeah.
Details. Yeah, if you went to the New Vegas area, it'd be cool to see how all the different factions and stuff live, but I don't like hot weather, so I don't know. I'm thinking of another. Thinking a cyberpunk sort of game, but I can't. It's like I'm reaching, but I can't. There's nothing to grab onto. Some cyberpunk game though.
Shadowrun, Transistor.
Selma,
Shadowrun wouldn't be a bad.
Valhalla.
Never played
Oh, it's
that.
just okay.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Rapture before
Alright.
the apocalypse.
Okay.
Before the rapture.
Before everybody went to the Rapture too.
Rapture, pre-rapture.
Rapture.
All right, cool.
Is it my question now?
I believe
It is,
so.
yeah. In the
Okay.
penultimate question.
What are series that you follow pretty religiously?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you could say I follow Pokemon religiously, but I'm going to play one whenever I get the opportunity and they release one. So, and then Christ, Fallout. That series, that poor series. They just need to take it out in the back and shoot. And it's got like the plague and stuff. It's got like stuff just growing out of itself, and Bethesda's like, okay, no, we're doing another game. But
It's called money.
yeah, that's it. They just really keep milking it. Poor cow. The poor emaciated cow of the Fallout
Don't
series.
talk about
The
toast
Brahmins.
like that. Barely matter.
That's a little messed up.
As far as things you can and cannot say, that is in fact one of them. You don't call a lady a cow. I don't care who the fuck
Hey,
you think you
Don't
are.
look at me. Anthony said it.
Okay, alright.
I believe he said the emaciated cow from the Fallout series.
Please do us a favor
I mean-
and go and run out and play in traffic, please.
Or
Nice.
instead of the rain.
Wearing, like, do it, like, in the dark of night.
Yeah, in the dark.
While wearing,
well,
like,
he
a
lives
black
in a city,
hoodie.
so I don't think it would ever be dark. But
Well, let's say, like, in the bad part of town, where the streetlights
Sure.
are out.
Okay, nice thought. So, yeah, Fallout is, there's still a possibility that they could outsource something to Obsidian or some other company that cares about video games and, do something nice. So, hey, not gonna completely give up on it yet, so I kind of follow Fallout. Mostly I do follow developers, like Rick said in one podcast, I think. Like Obsidian, they're making pretty quality games. I think, they made Pillars of Eternity 2 and basically proved that. And I haven't even played it, but I watched Super Bunny Hop's review, which is good enough for me. So, it proves that they're still making deep games that they care about, and they're not, they're not falling down the money hole yet. So, them
Although,
and
in fairness, they are having their own share of problems.
are they? I don't keep up with the news, so I don't.
So I've only sort of kept up with it in passing, but I know that one of their lead writers left recently, and he is very, very outspoken about a lot of what he says are very bad practices there. Doesn't feel like he was treated very well.
Okay.
I mean, I just made the comment in passing. I didn't intend to go into it too deeply.
That is quite the endorsement. I
to
didn't
be
know
fair,
about
I
that.
feel like a lot of those things are going on behind the scenes on pretty much any company. And it's pretty much you look at their work, not at their ethics.
What a sad, sad statement.
Jeez, okay.
I mean, it's horrible, but it's true.
It's, yeah, alright, well, okay. So, maybe...
You heard it here. Toast
maybe
fuck the developers.
Yeah. Well, you can't really combat her saying that after the whole... But, okay, so... Obsidian, if maybe that lead writer wasn't the one thing holding them together, then something interesting's gonna happen. So, the next game they release is gonna be interesting, you know that. But... And then... well, I mean, Nintendo. They're Nintendo, so... It's like a pretty safe bet to say they're probably gonna... Metroid Prime 4, Fire Emblem, all that crap, probably gonna be pretty good. So, got that. Trying to think, anyone else, like, maybe Atlas, because, I mean, they're
I love
the
Atlas.
SMT dudes, so,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty excited, they usually release pretty great games, so.
Okay. So,
Cool.
the last question, and our little segue, is what have you recently beaten, what have you currently been playing?
Okay, so, I know one of you is not going to be happy with one of the things that I have... There have been 2 retirements as of late. I'll start with the least controversial. Professor Layton and the Curious Village. I retired that.
I'm with you there, friend.
Yeah, the instant I get a slide puzzle in a game like that, I'm like, no, you're not doing this to me. This isn't...
I looked up a walkthrough for that one.
So the story, I wasn't really sucked in by the story by that point, so I was like, you know what, I'm not suffering through this. I'm sorry, I'm not much of a puzzle guy, I'm not very smart.
No,
so.
that's fine. I'm
But,
not a big fan of Layton games either.
Me neither.
I always think that I'm gonna like them more than I do.
I must be the lone Layton supporter. The twist in that first game was phenomenal.
I really like them because my mom likes them, so I like them because of that. But on their own, they're not that strong.
Yeah, I
She's
played...
just playing because she thinks you like them.
No, she's not. She actually likes that one, I think.
I played a couple puzzles with my mom, and it was pretty fun, actually, but beyond that, if I could have played it as a visual novel, I feel like that would have been more... I may have beaten it that way. And the other retirement was Donkey Kong Country 2. Got that on Virtual Console.
It's hard on Virtual Console. I've heard a lot of people retire it on Virtual Console because the controls are too difficult on the to emulate it. So if you played the original version, it might be a bit different.
Do you think if I were to emulate it on PC, I have a SNES USB controller that's pretty good.
I've played
Possibly.
it emulated before, and I didn't have issues with it on my computer. It seemed pretty comparable.
The big thing is controller use. The Nintendo, like the DS, just can't really do it very well. But I think with the controller, it might be different. Some people say it's too difficult, and it is one of their more difficult games. So, were you just not enjoying it, or was it too hard?
It was both. And then I feel like the difficulty may have to do with playing it on a Nintendo 2DS XL did not make it any easier.
Yeah.
So I could go back. I mean, it's because it wasn't. No matter how little fun I was having, I could never bring myself to say that it was a bad game. So if I maybe played it with the proper, and I love, just like I said earlier, the 2D CGI. I really love that game. It's the graphics, they were so great. And then when his reaction to killing like a bird 4 times the size of him is he just whips out the boombox and the glasses.
Yeah. I love Dixie's little electric guitar.
Yeah.
And how if you pause to like for too long, they start doing random stuff like Dixie will like blow a bubble and like pop it.
In also, the honey stages.
Doesn't one of them like pull out a Game Boy or something?
Yeah. I just love the attitude and like the sass in that game. Also, the music is really good, and in the menu, there's like a secret. If you like press, like I think it's down a few times, like down and X, takes you to the sound test, and that's super cool.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm liable to pick it up again on a different platform. See, but God, man, I was stuck in an airport for 5 hours, and playing that on the 2DS XL was not helping my mood.
Not helping, yeah.
God, man, that game can be pretty brutal at times.
Yeah.
What was it about the 2DS? Is it just the raw power, or is it uncomfortable with the control input?
The raw power?
Or lack thereof, is what I mean. Because you said playing on a 2DS didn't help. Sorry, go on.
The D-pad can be a bit fiddly. And it doesn't stay in place quite, and it doesn't really feel good to press down. It's pretty clicky as opposed to the original SNES controller, which just...
It's like mushy.
Yeah,
mushy D-pads are the best D-pads.
Yeah, you want it to be soft when you press it, which is... Because it makes changing it easier.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm thinking that the 2DS is... I just upgraded to the XL. I had an original crappy ugly 2DS. I just upgraded to the XL. I'm thinking it's going to be an RPG machine for pretty much its entire lifespan. So, yeah. Got that. Let's see. Now, the games I didn't retire. I beat quite a few games in the past 2 weeks. I'm going to look at my completions real quick. One game I want to talk about, I beat Valiant Hearts just this past 2 weeks, and jeez. I only put ratings for games that are a perfect 10, and Valiant Heart wholeheartedly gets that rating from me.
Dang.
One of the few games where I've cried. So...
Those ones are always the best.
Always the best. And, so... I also played Detention. That game.
I want to. Is it good? I really, really want to get it, but I haven't heard enough about it to like justify it.
Is that the janky Asian horror game?
Yeah.
Janky
it looks so cool.
Yes, I loved it. The thing is, I don't know if it's still on sale. I would get it on sale. It's very, very short for like the retail is like $13. And it's like 2 hours long.
I feel like it's worth 4 or 5 to me personally.
Yeah, and I got it for $7 on sale, I think. So I really love my time with that game. Because horror, it's kind of hard for me to get scared because I'm more scared with like dying alone than spooky monsters. But
that's a little real, but okay.
So, but that game's atmosphere was something else, and the story, if you really look into it, it's pretty vague storytelling, but if you look into it, I really enjoyed the story. It's very non-linear, and if you can find it on sale, that is like a must play. It's super great. I loved it, and I love the art, and it's very ambient, but I love the music in that game. It's pretty subtle, but it works very well. Some of the puzzles, I used a guide sometimes. Some of the puzzles were a bit obtuse, but I mean, that's an adventure game, so you kind of can't complain that much about it, you know, so that was great. Might even give it a rating of a 10, not gonna lie, but don't know. Doesn't really matter what I rate things, doesn't matter that much. Also played Oxenfree, probably gonna go replay that sometime, but got it for $5 on sale. That's a ridiculous deal. It's a really great game.
I didn't like that, to be honest.
You didn't?
I couldn't get it behind the characters. I don't know whether that's my failing or the game's.
I don't... If someone doesn't like the game, I'm gonna say it's the game's failing, but,
I think it's a failure on their part.
Yeah. Well, I liked it. I enjoyed myself, and for $5, I mean, it's a pretty great experience, in my opinion. Um, some of the random times where it's just like, I don't like the whole concept of the ghosts because it's just like, whenever it's convenient for the plot, okay, we're gonna take you over real quick, just real quick. So it's like kind of a cop out, but you know, it was good. I enjoyed it.
I think I kind of had a similar reaction where I was really into the characters, but not so much the actual plot of the game.
Yeah, it's kind of like I started reading Harry Potter once, and then I was enjoying the storytelling about the dad in the beginning because it was funny, but then once it got to Hogwarts, I was like, well, this is boring. That's kind of my experience with it. So beat Oxenfree. Yeah, sorry about that. Adventure Pals. That I got it on sale as well. It was very 5 out of 10. Very not memorable at all. It was just indie platformer, quirky indie platformer number 563. Just came off of the belt, but I mean, it's like I enjoyed my time with it, but I would not recommend it because I feel like I got nothing out of it. A lot of the humor in the game is pretty bad, but that's just me. If I was like 9 years old, you know, I would enjoy it. And also the combat, oh my god, okay. You know in games where you get hit, they give you an invincibility section, and then you get to move yourself so that you're away from the action, and you can, no, it gives you invincibility, but you're not able to move while you have invincibility.
Oh, so you're right, stun you.
The enemy AI is just, okay, go to the player. So you get hit, get knocked down, the enemy goes to you while you're knocked down, and you get hit again immediately. And it can be pretty frustrating. It feels pretty unpolished in that sort of way, but say the art was good. The music was like, if you do a mind Google of generic video game music, that's the music. So it was very forgettable. The whole experience was very forgettable. It's like the video game equivalent of eating a Big Mac. So take that how you will.
I mean, every time I eat a Big Mac, it's a really transcendent experience. So
really, it's hangover food for me.
I was being sarcastic.
Okay, I thought you were being serious. For some people, that is true.
Yeah, sarcasm detectors.
Maybe if you're really passionate about mediocre indie games, you would like the Adventure Pals. All I'm saying is, God, I'm glad I did not pay $15 for that. I think I beat another one. Oh, I will say, I played the free Life is Strange part, and she literally used the word keck in it, and I kind of checked out. I was... You know, it was leading up to that, but then, you know, when you're in-game characters, they're talking about, we should start a Kickstarter. Right, guys? Right, kids? You know what I'm talking about?
That is the frustration with Life is Strange, because, like, if you can bear it, there's a pretty, you know, beautiful story underneath it, but you really have to suffer through some of the cringiest dialogue in the world.
Man, I should probably start playing it before it gets too, like, outdated, I would say. I should probably start playing it at some point.
Yeah, you're not going to want to play it in 10 years.
Yeah, in 10 years when it's like, keck, like...
Although maybe in 10 years it'll just stop being cringy and just be hilarious.
Maybe it'll be camp. Dude.
I don't know. The thing is, like, I still kind of
artifact.
cringe when people are like, all that in a bag of chips. I still kind of cringe when people say that. Like, even though it's like a throwback, it's still kind of cringy. That's like a '90s saying. It's
All
like
that, is it? Okay.
all that in a bag of chips. Yeah, it's like you think you're something special, like all that in a bag of chips.
See, on the flip
If you
side
think-
of that, like if people are like using like the words mondo or tubular, like I am all about that. I use those words regularly.
Radical.
I
Bro,
still
this
try to
is-
get out of the like things I said in middle school. I still try to like get out of the habit of saying them because like back then it was like really like we said Coolio, and I still every once in a while still say it. And I'm like, kill, stop it, don't do it, kill it with fire. Just it needs to die.
All I'm saying is I was trolling someone and it was darned epic. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah.
I don't
no.
think epic can ever age though. I think it's one of those words where it just doesn't really have an expiration date.
This is epic.
Just have a dynamic
I mean,
etymology.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
the context. Whatever. So I also beat the Sexy Brutale, which was another adventure puzzle game.
I actually
I-
beat that myself in the past couple of days.
I want to
Oh,
start
nice.
it. I want to start it, so I was like, oh, start it real soon.
Pretty charming, pretty nice little game. Also used a guide on it. I'm not very good at adventure games, but I love the concept of them. So I enjoyed my time with it. I was not gonna pay the full price though. I got it from the gray market G2A, which I'm a little ashamed about, but I'm not gonna pay $20 for that. So, meh. But it was a good game. Nice little story. Nice like twist at the end, kind of.
See, I felt
I don't know.
like the twist was kind of weak.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I don't know about even like commenting on a story like that in a game because there was no stakes or anything really serious, and the characters were never like the story was barely a focus for so much of the game for me that it's like, well, okay, I'll take the twist at the end. You know, it was cool, I guess, but I was never really focused on anything around me other than solving puzzles.
I guess my disappointment with the story was just that they had this full cast of characters that they like developed through each of the individual like puzzles and like chapters,
Yeah.
if you want to call them.
And then
that.
they never show up again.
They never show up again, and all of your like emotional weight at the end of the game is kind of based on this character that is only
You
kind
never
of mentioned
met.
in passing. Yeah, and you only
Yeah.
find out who he is at the end.
Yeah, I think it was more the dialogue for me. I guess I enjoyed the
The
dialogue.
dialogue is
in it.
exceptional.
Yeah, it was. You know, it's a. I'd say it's a good game. So you have that.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll jump in here so we don't have to like repeat ourselves too much later in my own segment with some of my thoughts about the game.
Okay.
And then we can return to you.
Alright.
I think what I liked most about it was that, you know, you have all of the characters who are great and well written, but I also loved that like each room kind of feels like a character in a sense.
Yeah.
There's so much detail in the scenery, and once you get like your last power up, then when you're able to basically uncover the history of that room, it reminded me a lot of Luigi's Mansion in that sort of way, where everything in the scenery is so memorable and
Yeah.
I hate this word, but iconic.
Epic, if you will.
Epic. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, the mansion had a lot of love put into it.
I
It
guess
was-
I only would have liked to see a little more of things like really changing as a response of what you're doing, more of like a causality situation.
Yeah,
it
it was
did-
just.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. Yeah, people don't die now.
Yeah,
didn't
that's
die,
really the only
so-
change. That's really the only change
Yeah.
that occurs. Whereas, like, I don't know. I was also comparing it a lot to Hitman in my mind, the Hitman series, where like if you blow up something on one side of the map, then it'll change like AI patterns and things on the other side of the map. And granted, I know this is like a much lower budget project than Hitman games, but it still would have just been nice if there was a little more to the puzzles than, you know, figure out where you need to go, change one thing in that room, and then it's kind of solved.
Yeah, they could have had an opportunity for like branching stories through how you solved it. So if you could solve puzzles in different ways, but it's all pretty much a straight line from one end to the next of make sure this dude doesn't walk into a furnace.
Yeah. All right. Now you may continue.
I think that may be it. I think it's, yeah, I don't even have any currently playing games because I beat all the games I had on vacation. And now I'm just on the prowl, thinking an RPG next.
Got any in mind that you're thinking about starting?
Tales of the Abyss, maybe, for 3DS, seems like a pretty cool game. I know, maybe one of the Shin Megami Tensei games, because those are all pretty quality.
If you played 4 yet, I would highly recommend 4.
Funny story. I got about 7 hours in, and then sold my the one I was playing on it a while ago for various reasons. So, yeah.
And you have to buy it again, obviously, because oh no, you're in America, so you'll have a physical copy.
No, well, I don't. I had to call Nintendo customer support to relink the stupid DS thing. So now I have all the games I bought previously.
Okay.
But I had to wait. They're like, yeah, it's 2 to 3 business days for us to send this email to you. I was like, Christ. But that's, you know, whatever. I may pick it up again. I don't know.
All right.
Sorry, go on, Mike. Yeah.
Well, for the sake of time, let's go ahead and shift on to the next person. Who's it gonna be?
Well, I've started the last couple, so I think it should be one of you two.
All right. How about you go, Toast?
Sure. Games I finished, I 100%ed A Hat in Time.
Nice.
So I got all the achievements for it and everything. I think that took 22 hours for like the total of it. I like the game. The achievements were really inconsistent because some of them were really, really easy, and then others were like glitched and like wouldn't pop up, and like I had to do them over and over.
That's just the indie charm, actually.
Yeah, it was charming. That's for sure. But I vaguely remember getting very angry at. There's this one where you're not supposed to, like, you're in a parade, and you're not supposed to fall at all. And by the end of it, I was like very angry because they're shooting like fireworks and rockets and all that at you, and you're being followed. So to like not fall at all was the most difficult of the achievement. It's fine. I did it. It's whatever. The game was good. Every episode felt different, so that's good. The story was not good, but that's fine. It's not what I played it for. I didn't really like the art direction in it either. It felt very Unity to me, which I feel like I don't know. I don't like the I don't know how to describe it, but it feels very like greasy when I see like Unity projects because I can just kind of tell that they're Unity projects. Same thing with the new Game of the Month stories. I can kind of just tell that it's like it has that same kind of like greasiness on its 3D models. But
yeah, I guess that's a good way to describe it. I know what you mean.
It's like not fully fleshed out. It's not like quite. It's very flat, very not shaded correctly, or not. I don't know. It's just kind of boring looking. But the game was good. Did I finish anything else? think so. I finished the first chapter of EF. I'm on the second chapter, and I think there's 2 chapters per game, so I think I'm about halfway through the first game. And then I think there's a second game, which, I don't know, it was supposed to be like one smushed together game, and I think in some places it was, but it wasn't where I got it. So I have just the first one and the second one separate that you have to kind of like crack together. But it's weird. And then I did start stories. So I'm very, like, it is a very strange game because it feels like Furry Bastion. And, like, almost exactly like Furry Bastion. Voiceover and everything. And it's also kind of greasy looking. But I think the storybook aesthetic is charming. It's way too easy. I think I almost have all the achievements already, and I'm like 2 hours in.
Dang.
And I play games very slowly, so if that's the case, it's very, very, very easy. If I've never once taken a hit in the time that I've played it, it's really, really easy.
Wow.
Let's see what else. Oh yeah, they're doing like a thing for Disgaea, and I remember very fondly playing Disgaea like on PlayStation 2. So I got the first one, and I'm starting that one up again.
When you say they're doing a thing, who is
NIS.
doing what thing?
NIS America is doing a like, you can play Disgaea for free for like the next few days.
Isn't it like $5 to buy it permanently or something?
Right now it is, yeah. They're doing like a promotional deal where you can play it, and so stupid me decided to play it, and then I'm like, if I want to get farther I have to buy it, so I did.
Is it just the first game, or do they have deals for the others?
They have deals for all of their games. I don't think the second one's on sale though. But it's like all their other games, because I know someone bought me another one of their games during this deal. I think I got Criminal Girls from someone. And that was another one of their deals.
It's just Disgaea 1 that's on sale. Yeah, I'm looking. It's like $3.80 in post-Brexit UK pounds.
It's $5.82 in American dollars, I think.
Okay.
I think almost exactly that, because I have a receipt for it or something.
I've got the DS port sitting on my shelf waiting for me to have another crack at going through it, so I probably won't bother,
But the Steam one has achievements, which is why I got it.
I couldn't give less of a shit about achievements.
I just like them. It's like getting rewarded for playing a game.
I used to try to get achievements, and God, there were some very painful nights. And I will leave it at that.
Yeah, that's probably fair. No, I just don't see the point in them, but that's probably another discussion for another time.
I will add it to the notes. We will have a discussion topic all about achievements.
I don't really have a rebuttal. I just like him because it's elitist. You get them all, and I just like that.
All right. Anything else, Toast? Or does that round you off?
I don't think so. There probably is, but I can't think of it, and I don't want to take up more time than I already have.
Okay. I will go next. I will try to be quicker than my usual. Let's see. Currently playing a recently beat first. I'll start with recently beat. So, in the past 2 weeks, I have completed Xenoblade Chronicles. I won't really talk about that too much, since I'm pretty sure I've talked about it already in previous episodes. It was... What I will say is that I think I mentioned before that the story was kind of getting to a weird place as I was playing it, and it just kind of kept getting weirder. Ultimately, I'm happy with how it turned out, but I think that the story is handled a lot better in its first half than its second half, although some of the twists are kind of cool.
That's actually very... that's the case with most of the Xeno games, is they've either run out of money or funding, and that's all of the Xeno games are always better in the first segment than the last one.
It's a little foreboding for half of a 100-hour game to be not as strong.
Although, that being said, I mean, it is still... I gave it a 9 as my final score. It is a strong enough game at its base level that even for being weaker in its second half, it's still an exceptional game all around.
That's the general concisest for them all, I think, is that it's still good enough.
Consensus?
Consensus. Okay, you do the word. There it is.
Evanescence.
And Evanescence. Bring me to life. And the only other thing I'll add is that my favorite ship was decanonized, so I will always be upset about that.
All the best ships are never canon.
Well,
that's so sad.
Except for Makoto and Kyoko, but we won't get to Danganronpa too much.
It's the obligation.
Really, I wanted him to be with I think it's like Asahina. I wanted him to be with Asahina.
Yeah, they would be cute, but Kyoko's the girl for him. Anyway.
Really, she's a bitch.
But the noodle. Anyway, the next game after that was Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate, which I was just beginning the last time we had an episode. I have to agree with you, Rick. I have been turned from a thumb sideways to a thumbs down. It's just an exceptionally dull game. I mean, I'm still going to say that I love, like, the backgrounds and, like, the animations and stuff, but, yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, it's trying to be a classic classic Castlevania game mixed with a Metroidvania by doing, like, 3 campaigns where it's basically linear, but then you can do some exploration at the end. It just doesn't work.
That sounds like a mess.
Very disappointed with how it ended up. And then, like, the ending. Rick, do you remember the ending?
I didn't get past the first half hour.
Oh, right. Yeah, you mentioned that. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it because it's a side series and it's Castlevania. It's literally the story of Dracula. So, at the very end, you're playing as... you're playing as, I think, Gabriel Belmont? No. There's so many Belmonts. You're playing as the father of the, like, first character you play as or whatever.
So you're playing as Daddy Belmont. We'll go with Daddy
you're playing as Daddy Belmont, but not Granddaddy Belmont, because that's Dracula. You're playing as Daddy Belmont. And
hang on, whoa, Granddaddy Belmont's Dracula?
In the Lords of Shadow side series, yes.
What?
Not in the main series. So Granddaddy Belmont is Dracula. You're playing as Daddy Belmont, and you're trying to kill him. And you fight him, and he, like, kills you, but then he finds out that you're his son. So he, like, gives you his blood, turns you into a vampire, and wow, turns out you're actually Alucard all along. But that's the ending. It's just, like, a twist that doesn't actually end the story of the game. It just...
They really wanted something exciting to happen.
Yeah.
They just wanted that series to be way more popular and long-standing, as in the Lords of Shadow sort of version of it.
To be honest, I love the first Lords of Shadow game, but yeah, the second one was just a Darksiders wannabe, and Darksiders is just a God of War wannabe, so all the dilution.
Ooh, that's controversial.
Hey, I love Darksiders, but it's like the first game is literally just God of War and Portal together.
Well, in like Zelda.
So yeah.
Because they said that they modeled it after Ocarina, mostly. Like, when they were actually talking about their inspiration, they said it was pretty much, like, ripping off Zelda and trying to make it edgier.
And it succeeded at being edgy. My next completion was actually Professor Layton and the Unwound Future, which is the third in the Layton series.
What a game.
Yeah, I won't talk about it too much because we already touched on it, but I actually played it because it's been a couple of years since I played the first 2 games, and I thought, hey, I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm gonna enjoy these more than I did back then. And then I rented it, and it came in the mail, and I played it for like 3 hours, and then I just stopped enjoying it. So make of that what you will. I did finish it, though. even though maybe I shouldn't have.
That
Next.
ending has all the feels. Just side note.
On Unwound Future?
Yeah,
I mean,
it got me in the feels anyway.
I wasn't able to feel much. I mean, I'll grant that I felt something. But it's just like, I don't know. I can't say it came out of left field, because they were building towards it the whole game, but yeah, I don't know. So next was Rhythm Heaven, which is
Yay.
it's like WarioWare Inc., but with rhythm mechanics, and it was pretty darn fun. I don't really have much to add other than that. You should play it if you have not. I
remember the wow, like for the Rhythm Heaven, like they had like the little screaming people. They're like wow,
Oh,
wow,
yeah,
wow.
you have to hold the touch screen down to
Yeah.
stop him from opening his yeah.
There were just so many of the different mini games that, and they're like all shouting different things. I will say the absolute worst one was the one where you have to shift between the downbeat and the upbeat on like a dime. They're like, you have to tap on the downbeat, and then you just suddenly have to shift to the upbeat, and it's so
I
difficult.
don't think
to
I could do that.
I mean, I figured out how to do it because they do give you an audio cue, but it still takes some adjustment, and it slowed down my pace a lot, which upset me. Next was Cave Story Plus. Cave Story probably doesn't really need much of an introduction. I mean, it's a good game. There you have it.
It's free if you're interested.
I beat it on the Switch and was not too thoroughly impressed.
Was that the, like, weird 3D new version they made?
Oh no, that was
Or
3DS.
was it the original, like,
No,
pixel
I
art
think
style?
I think it was literally titled Cave Story Plus. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm thinking of Cave Story 3D, which is different.
Yeah.
okay. I don't.
Yeah, on PSP. Not legally, but you can. That's how I played it. It was good.
Anything
Yeah.
else you want to say about Cave Story? You seem to have some thoughts.
Me? No.
Okay. Alright. I have a few more to go. Played Super Win the Game, which is just kind of like a indie 8-bit callback to like NES adventure games with just very obtuse maps and instructions and stuff.
Oh my god.
And I can definitely say it's an accurate representation of that. It's a pain to get around the map. It's a pain to figure out the puzzles and the directions they want you to go. I mean, the actual like platforming of it, I guess, is fine, but I don't know. Ultimately, I just was getting kind of annoyed with it by the end. I played and finished Sonic Mania, which I will say is the only 2D Sonic that I have enjoyed from beginning to end, which may be a controversial opinion, but I stand by it.
How do you feel about the ugly little OCs that they have?
That
They
was
have
in
a
Forces.
squirrel? Oh, it was in... No, they have
No, they've
little
got
ugly
some new
OCs.
ones in the Plus update.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, well, this...
They're little squirrels and at like like they're really ugly. My Sean got them.
I didn't have that
One of
update, I
them
guess.
isn't an OC. At least one of them's carried over from like an obscure old game.
Yeah, they're really ugly. He's got like a peanut butter tail.
I was just playing the base game, so
Oh, okay.
I know not of these squirrely OCs. And just today I finished up Scribblenauts Unlimited, which I don't really have an opinion on at all, really. It kind of was just something that I did. It made the time go by, and that's all I really have to say about it.
Those games are so vanilla.
Yeah.
Weirdly, given the concept.
I think it's a clever idea, I just don't think they've ever executed it well.
Hmm.
Giving someone that much freedom to draw literally anything they want is gonna inevitably disappoint, like, pretty much anyone who plays it.
Yeah, because the issue you always run into is that the puzzles
They're
that
not
they...
as creative as you are.
That's exactly right, yeah. You come up with... Like, you know the answer that they're trying to lead you towards, but you don't want to do that because you have your own brain. You want to
Freedom,
think
yeah.
outside the box a little bit. So you come up with your outlandish solution, and no, they really just want you to put a rope on it and pull it, and that's it.
I played it on the original DS when I was very young, and my only memory really is me seeing, okay, they gotta have this. Draw it. They don't have it. Okay, no, wait, they gotta have this one. Draw it. It's not in the game. And never touching the puzzles, 'cause they just bored me.
Yeah. They at least added a lot of new words in Unlimited, so you can at least come up with more things that match what you're trying to do, but the game still isn't able to figure out what you want to do with them, so that's a bummer.
My overriding memory of that game is just the physics engine being utter ass.
That is true.
Is that still the case in Unlimited? Because I'm the same as Anthony. I played the DS original.
Oh yeah, it's awful. I was trying to solve one puzzle by attaching like a bunch of balloons to something to make it float, and every time I attached a new balloon, it would hit the old balloon and make it pop, because apparently it was hitting it that hard. So that was frustrating. Anyway, just two things that I'm currently playing, and then we'll move on to Rick. I've been playing D4 Dark Dreams Don't Die, which is a Swery game, Swery, who did Deadly Premonition. And, I mean, it's basically what you would expect from a Swery game. It's very quirky. Your mileage may vary on how much you accept that quirkiness. I'm pretty accepting of it, but I can see people getting turned off by it. It's sort of a point and click, sort of like an interactive movie type thing.
Is it finished? Because I thought it was a chapter.
No,
It's not finished.
It's
And it
never
never
gonna get
will be.
another one either.
Yeah. So,
Which is why I don't want to play it, because it's not gonna get finished.
I'm with you there.
So I've
I
been
don't know.
avoiding it, even though it looks fun.
It's pretty fun. I mean, it took me about an hour to kind of get into the flow of it, but once I did, I enjoy kind of playing hide and seek in the environments, trying to find new things to click on and stuff. I don't understand the stamina system. I don't think it really needs to be there, but that's kind of my only real complaint at this point. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. I'll probably add more later when I finished it. And then the coup de grace. I have been playing Yoku's Island Express. Are any of you familiar with that?
It's an
One
open
of my
world.
friends on Steam is playing it.
Oh,
and
I've
they
heard.
said-
Yeah.
So, for the kiddies at home who know nothing at all, the Yoku's Island Express is basically a Metroidvania pinball platformer.
Jeez.
And it sounds like a weird combination of things that they just put together to be, like, innovative or whatever.
Looks fun though.
It works really dang well. It holds up to as innovative as it sounds. I have just been discovering new things with the gameplay very frequently that are impressing me and giving me new reasons to keep on going, and the hours just kind of fly by when I'm playing it. I love, the way that you traverse through the environments. I love that it really does feel like a platformer, and then you move into a section that feels like a pinball machine, and it's so seamless. And then, I mean, just the environments are gorgeous. So
it's not rooms and rooms of pinball. There is some actual walking and exploring in between.
yeah, and like,
Right.
but the actual exploring elements still have like paddles that help you move around and stuff. So it's a very creative way of getting you to move around the environment. So
Sounds horrific, but
I
Pinball platform.
Yeah, I was kind of nervous going into it, but it has impressed me at every single juncture. So, honestly, this is one of my favorite games that I've played recently, as far as where I am right now. So, I'll leave it there. Rick, what you been up to?
Yeah, I'll jump in. So I've beaten 2 games. They're both ones that I was playing last time when we talked about this. So the first was Portal 2. Obviously incredible. I do think Portal 1's better. I think the campaign's tighter. I think it tells a better story in as much as it has one.
Okay. I mean, you're wrong, but...
Hey, well, we can agree to disagree. I do love the co-op campaign of it much more than either of the 2 single-player campaigns. And I think I indicated that last time. They do a lot more with 4 portals and obviously all of the goos and everything else than they ever did with 2. And I really like the process of solving that puzzle with a friend and, you need to go here, and having all the stupid little emotes and countdowns and being able to sort of point things out. I think it's just done really, really well. The other game I beat was Kid Icarus Uprising, which, if the movement sensitivity was a little bit better calibrated, and if that stupid bike wasn't in the game, would probably be a 10 out of 10 for me. As is, I put it on as an 8. And I do think it's really worth playing. It's definitely playable without the stand, and it's a shame that sort of overshadowed it when it first came out. The whole idea of, you need to put it on the stand. Oh my god, Virtual Boy, no. The 3D's done really, really well. The humour and the story's a bit all over the place, but they really gel together quite well, and it's a really enjoyable experience on the whole, and it has so many ideas that it sort of throws at you across the length of the sort of roughly 10-hour campaign. So I really, really enjoyed that. In terms of what I'm playing at the minute, I'm playing Rhythm Paradise Remix, so the 3DS follow-up to the DS game. I want to like it much more.
Does it have a different name? Is it called Rhythm Paradise over there?
In the EU, yeah.
Okay.
It's called Rhythm Heaven in America, and it's called Rhythm Tengoku in Japan. What I loved about the DS game, and what annoys me about is that in the DS version, there wasn't really any story. You just jumped from sequence to sequence to sequence, which was fine. In the 3DS version, they try and give you a story. It gets in the way. It doesn't really add anything. It just frustrated me in between puzzles. What also annoys me is that there are not 1 but 2 pretend endings in the game, where it rolls the credits and it's like, oh no, there's more. It's just like, say, come on. Also, because the campaign's a lot longer, you can tell how limited the game is much earlier than you did in the DS version. Everything is just a variant of press the A button at the right time. Occasionally you'll use the D-pad or the B button, but that's it. In bursts it's good though. It's still definitely enjoyable. What else am I playing? I'm playing another Code, 2 Memories, so that was a launch title for the DS. I've been sort of keeping an eye on eBay. I recently managed to snag a copy at an acceptable price. It's okay so far. I'm quite early in. The story's a bit bonkers, which is normal for that developer. They made the Hotel Dusk games as well.
Oh, I remember Hotel Dusk. It was really good.
I hate Hotel Dusk.
And
that's because you don't understand.
Hotel Dusk was good, and you can definitely see where some of the ideas that they started working on in another Code went into Hotel. So the conversation system's exactly the same, although you hold the DS normally as opposed to like a book. Some of the interactivity and the movement mechanics are similar. It's too early to say if it's good or not, but I'm playing that, I guess. I'm also playing Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. So that was originally an Xbox game. It got a HD port to Vita, where I'm playing it. It's also on PS3. And the unique things about that are twofold. The first is that it's a hybrid first and third person game. So you run around normally, and then when you want to fire your weapons, you double tap the touchscreen and you go into a first person mode and the controls shift a little bit. The second unique thing is that rather than ammunition, you fire animals that you find around the environment. So you can pick up spiders that when you shoot them at an enemy, they tie them up in a web. You can find these little furry, teethy creatures that slow the enemy down when you shoot them. There's a firefly type thing that fires the electricity from your bow. It's odd. It definitely builds a really nice world.
It's odd and it builds a nice world.
Yeah,
Like an odd world game.
They should have called it that, like the world that is odd or something. I don't know.
Is that the same game series as Oddworld Abe?
Yeah.
It is the same series, but it's nothing
Okay.
like those games. And thank God, I fucking hated Abe's Odyssey.
I mean, again,
I know
you're
nothing about
wrong.
the series.
Well, Abe's Odyssey it plays a lot like the original Prince of Persia in that it's side-on, it's very clunky in how it controls, and it's also very, very unforgiving.
I wouldn't say clunky
Oh, I would.
necessarily.
I definitely would.
I mean, the thing is that every move you make is pretty much bound to a certain distance.
As
So,
is
like-
every breath you take.
So, like, if you press left, you're going to go a certain distance left. If you press right, you're going to go a certain distance right. So it means that your timing has to be a little bit tighter because you basically have to buffer your inputs. I wouldn't
I
necessarily
see.
call that clunky, though.
I would. You feel like a shopping cart. You press the button and you go careening off in a direction.
I would probably say clunky because for the first little bit you're gonna look like you're like having a spasm on the screen.
It's also got a really weird conversation mechanic. The Odyssey, not Stranger's Wrath. Stranger's Wrath's got quite a nice conversation mechanic, actually. You press a button and it gives you an audio cue of him talking, basically telling you what you need to do next as a reminder. And that's one of the ways that it really sort of immerses you rather than having an objective screen. You press square and Stranger says, I better go and kill Toots McGriffin or whatever the next bounty's name is. But it's good. Initial signs are positive on that one. I'm about halfway through Resident Evil Revelations. I like it. I don't love it. I don't really have a lot of opinions beside that. I mean, it's an okay third-person shooter. There's some light puzzling. The waterborne enemies are absolute ass, but everything else sort of does what you'd expect and works well. I like also that you're jumping between 3 or 4 different casts of characters, and I'd assume towards the end of the campaign they're all going to coalesce. But it's sort of nice having these story threads running somewhat concurrently and seeing where things are starting to come together and what happens in one set of story missions bleeds into the next. So I like the way that they did that. I suspect it was a concession to the fact that it came out originally on the 3DS and you had to plan the gameplay a little bit around portable sessions. But I think it works really well. And the final thing that I'm playing, and I say playing hesitantly because I've literally not touched it in the past fortnight, is Phoenix Wright.
Jeez, Rick.
It's still going. I've not given up on
You
it.
can't say that you're playing it.
I can. I haven't swiped the thing out of my Android trace. Technically still playing. But yeah, that's me.
I'm
So-
gonna come over there and force you to play it.
Is it really worth your time and effort?
What time is it? 6:48. Oh my fucking god. I mean,
If you need to rush, we've got 3. We can always do the second half.
not swear words. But like find replacement.
Right. I don't want to be responsible for ruining your love life. If you've got a thing, go for the thing.
I can make them wait.
I would also say for the record that knowing our timekeeping abilities, it was quite irresponsible of you to time it to be straight after the podcast.
Got him.
We've been really good lately, like recently.
We have, that's true.
But
And
I mean,
they were the ones who planned it,
today
not me.
we're shaking things up though. Should have accounted for that. We got a
What they're
fourth
saying,
person.
Anthony,
It is my one day off.
what they're saying, Anthony, is that it's your fault. And really, in that context, I think you were right to pick me as your number 1 host.
Well, I can't blame him because most things are my fault.
No.
Damn,
Are
that
you
got
kidding?
real again.
This is what you did, Rick. You did this.
I did. What did I do?
Yeah, you made our guest host feel bad.
Who was it in the lead up to asking people to come on this podcast that said, if you're better than us, we will hurt you? I don't think I'm the person responsible for discomfort.
That actually sounds like Kerfmer.
I mean, it could have been either of you.
It was Kerfmer. I don't think I said that.
No, Kerf said, It could have been, actually. You definitely said something equally as bad, though.
I'd probably say something dumber, like, I'm gonna take you down to Pound Town.
No. That sounds like the name of a discount chain in the UK. We have Poundland, we have Pound World. It fit right in.
Anyway.
So what you're about to hear, hopefully, is the amazing lo-fi brainchild of Anthony and VeggieTales. So, you're back. It's almost like we never left. My recommendation this fortnight, it's summary. It's a summary recommendation. Windjammers. You can get it on PS4, you can get it on Vita, and I'm pretty certain you can play it on your browser. If
You already plugged that game.
Did I? Well, it's worth plugging again, so it can be my recommendation again.
Got him.
So, it's really good.
Yeah, wasn't that your very first?
Very first
Or was
one.
that Deadbolt?
No,
probably
it was
Deadbolt.
Windjammer.
Play Deadbolt.
You were... Stop recommending crappy
Play it.
games.
I'll stop recommending them when you play them. It's a good game.
You know, I've been looking for a first-person platformer for a while. It's just, I can't find a quality one. I'm really, really looking. I just cannot find any possible game that would fit that specification that anyone has ever mentioned.
Mirror's Edge.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, Mirror's Edge.
Or if you don't like Mirror's Edge, there's one called Lemma, Lemma, that I've heard really good things about.
Okay, but... No, never mind. Can I recommend something?
Of course.
Yeah, go
Sure.
ahead.
Okay, I don't know if anyone listens to Death Grips, but they're great, and Rick's laughing for some...
I've heard of the name, and I've heard that they're very, very out.
Okay, well, the thing is, a commonly overlooked song is Full Moon, but it happens to be their best song. So, if you're a fan of them and never heard Full Moon, and you don't think Full Moon's the best song by them, you should just quit everything, because I hate you.
Quit your job. Leave your family.
Just, well, if you quit breathing, I think most of the things actually come after.
Oh, yeah.
Or as a
Quit your
result, but yeah.
Wait, can I sign a form to quit my family real quick?
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure it won't be quick, but you definitely could.
Submit your
But,
resignation.
Wow.
But yeah, no, it's a very underrated song by them. I don't know why more people don't love it. So that's my recommendation.
And
Hope
just
someone
if you're
gets
looking for it on YouTube, like I am, you'll know you're on there because it's the video that opened Crow eating a smaller bird.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, if you have epilepsy, don't watch the music video.
Good warning.
That should be pretty evident within the first 10 seconds. But yeah.
Oh, by the way, if you have epilepsy, also do not watch the new Incredibles.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know if that's been
if
mentioned.
you have epilepsy, Deadbolt's the game for you. No problem there with that.
Deadbolt.
Have you played Deadbolt, Anthony?
No, wait. Okay, is it not a first-person platformer?
No, I did wonder if that's why you were bringing it up.
That's okay. I was trying to make a joke.
Right, okay.
I
we
thought
have
it.
the answer.
Okay, because have you ever watched To Snakerer? He's like a dude,
I
and
don't
he did
think
a.
I have.
He's a
He's
YouTube
like
dude.
a
He did a.
dude.
He's like a dude.
Well, I mean, he's a YouTube dude, and he did a series on platformers, and he did a couple first-person platformers, and I saw a Deadbolt in there, and I was like, okay. Then I just assumed that it was a first-person platformer. So
Deadbolt is a sort of stealth action game.
Are you
Is how
thinking
I-
now
about-
I'm interested.
Are you thinking about, maybe you misheard, was it like Cloud Built or something?
Could have been, yeah.
No idea.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I guess.
Cloudbuild's not very good. I don't know about the Ultra version that they brought out, but I did not like Cloudbuild.
Yeah. But another first-person platformer you should play is Cluster Truck, which is not my recommendation.
Segway.
But it's not my recommendation, but it is a great game.
I've heard Yahtzee describe it as the enthralling sensation of sticking your hand in a bag of rice that's uncooked. It's about as primal as it gets.
That is such a weird feeling that I'm assuming everybody has felt and had no way to describe before.
We literally
And now
never
they
done
do.
it.
That was
Cool.
Toast segment, right?
The price alone will deter people.
Go on, give us the skinny.
It's a fucking $30 pencil. It's
I've
a
heard-
$33 pencil. And
Where'd
it's
you
made
get it from?
I got it from, I think, Dick Blick or something like that. Or
Dick Pick?
Dick Blick. Dick Blick is an art supplies, and it's like the Rotrig 600, and I can. Wait, is it?
She's showing it to the camera.
It's black
Yeah.
and it's got red letters. I can see exactly.
Yeah, and it's got like a little end, and it comes off, and it's got like an eraser. And you put it back on. And,
Okay,
but
now I
the-
see
the
why it's
really
$30.
cool. The really no, it's made of metal and it's weighted and it's very very nice. The really cool thing is you can put any type of lead in there, and you can it spins around so you can tell what type of lead is in there.
I didn't realize
Neat.
there were different types of lead.
Yeah, there's
there's,
like different thicknesses and lightnesses, and obviously different colours as well. If you really want to be.
Well, this one only takes 0.5 millimeters, which is the standard, but it can take any type of like value.
2B, 4B, the lead can be more dense and darker, can't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have currently HB lead in there, but it takes like any type of lead, but the standard's HB.
And then it's
Yeah,
like H comes out finer and lighter, and B comes out blacker and darker.
H is hard lead, so it comes out scratchy and usually it's softer. B is softer lead, so it comes out really thick and dark,
Yeah.
which I hate. I hate B lead.
So now that we've had that fascinating conversation,
Well, I mean, it's important
it,
for future life. You'll never not use
Okay.
pencils.
Well, what if you lose it? Are you gonna use that one?
I have a
mean,
warranty on this fucking thing. It's
Oh,
$33 fucking dollars. I have a warranty.
On a
I've
pencil.
never-
Wow.
I
It's
gotta
a
admire
drafting
that.
pencil. That's actually pretty cheap for a drafting pencil.
okay.
I also bought it used, so it was $15.
Okay, you didn't tell us that before. 15's vaguely.
Yeah, but it's most people wouldn't buy it used.
It's what I spent on my fountain pen, but that I literally just use all the time for everything.
I spent like $9 on like a Copic, but that's a marker.
I feel like we're having a pen measuring contest.
my real recommendation, and my host segment, of course, is Grading on a Curve, where I talk about a game that people underrate, and I talk about why it should be considered in a better light. So mine for this week is the Hobbit game from 2003 by Sierra.
On the PS2?
It's for PS2, GameCube, Xbox, and there was even a PC version of it. I know all
That
of
was
this.
a great game.
I know all of this about it because I was a speedrunner of this very video game. I once held a world record for the all quests category of it. Not to toot my own horn too much, but no, on
I'm not bowing down to that.
I believe I still have the number 5 time for the any percent category, but it's been a while since I checked. Anyway, it is a game that a lot of people actually played it as kids, and I think a lot of people actually had fun with it as kids. But it's one of those sorts of things where as time went by, people just looked back at it and thought to themselves, "Oh, I played that as a kid. It was based off of a franchise. It must have just been bad." And, like, if you look at videos for it, it kind of might look bad, but it's actually pretty darn great. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's linear, but every level that you're in is very open and gives you lots of things to do, and there's lots of quests to do in all of the individual levels.
It's like a linear Zelda in a way.
Yeah, it's basically like every level is kind of like a dungeon, I guess, or like a segment of the overworld that you have to explore and talk to all of the characters and do their quests and stuff. I guess if there's one complaint that I have about it, it's that you can't, go back to earlier levels, but, just based on being, a game based on a book that is very much a journey, you can't just, go back. That doesn't happen in the story, obviously. But I mean, the art style is very
Ugly.
reminiscent. What?
I thought that the graphics were really, really ugly.
The graphics are
Then
bad,
again-
but
Then
the
again, I
actual
played
art,
the Game Boy one, and like the stylistic graphics of that one were really not good.
The
I mean,
Game Boy
it's a
one-
totally different game. Yeah.
Really, I had fun with the Game Boy one.
I mean, I haven't played the Game Boy one nearly as much as I did. The Game Boy one is much more like a 2D Zelda, whereas the 3D one is more like a 3D Zelda, I would say. But like the actual art style is reminiscent of the 1977 animated Hobbit movie, and like,
Which is also ugly.
no, it's not. It's beautiful.
Sorry. I'll
Got
stop being mean.
Why do you have to be wrong in front of my face?
I'm sorry. I'll do better next time.
Oh no.
It's not like I literally gave up things to be here with you because I love you that much, but it's okay.
And you love us enough to hold it over our head for the rest of
Yeah,
this
yeah.
episode. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. There's just there's a lot of different movement mechanics to it. Every level kind of has new things and new quests and new characters. So it's a lot of fun. There are random stealth parts. There are just straight platforming challenges. There are levels that are basically just trade sequences. So, I mean, there's always something new to do. And it's just a blast, honestly. I still have fun with it, even though speedrunning it is a major pain in the arse. It is a game that is near and dear to my heart.
Does speedrunning in any way involve that crazy ass pole vault you could do with the cane?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is the main movement mechanic in speedrunning.
Oh, is that one of those things where it's faster than your conventional walk, so you do it everywhere?
Yes. Well,
Oh,
let me break this down for you. So if you're going down a hill or moving across a gap, that is the fastest form of movement. But if you're on a flat surface or you're going uphill, then your fastest form of movement is to do a quick slash followed by a jump in a very precise timing, which sets your momentum faster.
oh, that sounds awful.
Oh no, it's fun. It's great. I love it. It's horrible. Don't play it. Play it, please do. It's great. I love
Play it, but not like that. Jesus. Right. Let's get on to the question this
All
time.
right. So, since last episode we answered a question from Streaming Shadow about the most memorable antagonists in video games, this week we're going to do the same thing, same asker, Screaming Shadow, but about most memorable protagonists. So, who wants to go first?
Kratos, I think, is an obvious, memorable protagonist.
Yeah.
It's kind of ironic because it was supposed to be the obvious opposite, but Makoto Nagi. Because he was supposed to be a nobody, which is almost why I remember him more.
I think his design's iconic as well, which helps.
Yeah, but he was also supposed to be like that nobody.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Makoto. I don't know if he's my
I
favorite
love
out
his
of the
voice,
protagonists.
or at least the Japanese voices of. I could sit in like a bathtub of that voice and be so nice and get relaxed. It's such a nice, soothing voice.
I'm not gonna say the name because it would be a spoiler, but my favorite Danganronpa protagonist is from V3.
Which I haven't played, to be fair. And I didn't say Makoto, I said Kratos. I don't know if that came through the audio.
No, I know.
We skipped ahead. We can talk about Kratos.
Right,
though,
okay.
too.
I
I hate Kratos though.
I thought you were saying Kratos was meant to be a nobody, and I was like, hang on, what?
Oh, no.
Right, okay, we're on the same page now. That's fine.
Yeah. Kratos is definitely memorable, though. You have to give him that, even if you don't like him.
But yeah, he's more of like an antagonist though. I would say he fucks up his own life more than the villains do.
I thought the idea was
well,
the gods screwed with him.
Maybe we should come up with a distinction here. Are we talking about protagonists, or are we talking about heroes?
See, I thought protagonists.
Okay.
The person you play as, basically.
Because half of the people I was thinking of weren't necessarily the people you were supposed to be rooting for, per se.
So,
if it's a character you can play as, freaking Claptrap. Oh, I love Claptrap.
Man, his birthday quest in Borderlands 2 killed me.
Yeah. That was the game where it was, because I was playing with friends, like just in Borderlands in general, because I was trying to play with friends, and then they would talk through all of the dialogue. So that was when I really had to put my foot down and say, hey, I want to listen to Claptrap more than I want you to be alive, so shut up so I can hear him do his thing.
Yeah.
Got him.
I'm going to give a shout out to Gordon Freeman.
Yeah.
Memorable.
Very memorable. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously not a lot of depth to him, but he was the archetype that basically set forth silent first-person protagonists for all future video games. So, I mean, just based on that alone, he's got some credos to him.
Mm-hmm.
Not Kratos, credos.
Okay. Hey.
Man, I'm having a lot of trouble thinking of a memorable protagonist.
Oh, I've got one.
Oh, go on.
May from Night in the Woods.
There, yeah.
I love May. Well, actually, I can't really say I love May because it's like, I am May. So I kind of like sort of despise her a little bit. Just because I'm like, I would do that. And that would not be good. So I kind of hate her a little bit, but she's memorable.
Very well developed, also.
Ooh, that's a shout. Ratchet and or Clank.
I think that you can combine them, in fairness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
They go together.
And if you combine them, they sort of work even better because I think they're memorable because of the way they interacted.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, Clank on his own with his own video game was not memorable at all.
The game wasn't that good either, in fairness.
Yeah, they didn't do his character right, and I just don't think he was super memorable.
No,
guess-
I think they... Go on.
Well, if we're talking duos now, then, I mean, also Jack and Daxter deserve a shout out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Ooh, and Banjo and Kazooie.
Yeah.
Very
They're
much deserve
memorable.
some love.
Mm-hmm.
They are just adorable. They are the best of friends. And they are so there for each other.
If we're
I
talking-
literally have a... Oh, sorry.
No,
I
it's
literally have a cousin who would go, like, years like just doing their horrible little voices over and over. So yeah, they're and he would do them so good. Just like, shut up.
I have one. Leon from. Mostly, I've only played RE4, not RE2, but RE4 is pretty memorable for me. I loved him.
Yeah. I love
I didn't get far enough in that game to know, but...
I knew you'd be fine if you laid on your butt!
He doesn't
sound like that at all.
But I don't really know what that game is.
It's a pretty great game.
Yeah.
You should play it.
Everybody should play Resident Evil 4.
Oh, Leon! Oh, okay.
Leon
I understand. Yeah, I've literally played that game. I know that game. Leon's pretty memorable. Sorry, I was like... I thought it was Ari, like... A-R or I or something like that, and I was like, what is Ari? But that sounds very familiar.
Oh.
Sorry.
Going back to duos, Joel and Ellie, The Last of Us.
Yes, yeah.
And that's a similar thing. I think they bounced off each other really, really well. What about some that are memorable but maybe underappreciated or have gone sort of unremembered?
Ooh.
It's weird because he was like super like he did speak the whole game, but for me like Chibi Robo, it's like like just like his whole, because he almost had like a personality without having to say anything the whole game.
He's so devoted.
Yes, so
like,
cute.
That's actually, I mean, you could say it's because he's a robot, but actually there's like canon evidence for it, because if you actually do everything that you're supposed to do in the game and do extra content, then you are actually ranked as the best
number
robot.
one.
Yeah, the number one robot helper.
Which is such a good feeling. When I was younger, I actually thought people were competing online for that number. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized that it was like just a game mechanic, because I was like, I'm number one.
We are number one.
So
I also want to say, now I don't know if you could say quote unquote memorable. I know they are memorable, but it's like a very new game that I just talked about. The protagonist from Detention. There is a lot of depth there, I'd say. I'd say that there's a pretty, I don't know if you could call it a twist, but there's an event that happens that makes you feel for both the victim and the perpetrator, which is nice. It's good to have that.
You're definitely convincing me to play this.
I know, I want to play it. But you also said that it wasn't worth full price.
It's not.
So I don't...
Well, I mean, if you have, like, piles of money laying around, probably. Anyone who has bought a PS4, even though they already have a gaming PC, probably wouldn't mind spending that sort of money on that game.
Okay.
I was looking through my list of old completions, and how have I not mentioned Kazuma Kiryu from the Yakuza series? One of the best and most enduring protagonists. Maybe not, like, an icon in the sense that, like, Mario and I guess Link and stuff are, but he is wonderful.
I need to play the Yakuza games.
I think Zero's coming out on PC.
It came out, and
yeah,
I looked at the reviews, and people are like, it's a buggy mess, and then other people are like, no, it's really good, and so I don't know what to think yet, but it supposedly aren't more games from the series supposed to come to PC? Not sure, but
makes sense.
Shenmue is coming to PC as well, and that's
Yeah,
very similar to Yakuza.
I want to play that.
Is it?
Too.
In my opinion,
It's like
yes,
Yakuza if you take away the fun parts.
It is insanely fun. It is insanely such a wide, like, berth of things to, like, find enjoyment of. Like, just everything's so good with it.
But I mean, Yakuza gives you all of those fun things, and you don't have to drive a forklift around for 8 hours.
Lefty pick Neku from The World Ends With You.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Even though he's a little bitch.
Yeah, but I think that's sort of the point, because you get a really good arc with him over, mild spoiler, all 3 of the weeks that you're with him. And I really loved the way that you saw him develop in the context of the different people that he had to work alongside, and the way all of those stories sort of dovetail together. Especially if you go for sort of the bonus ending by getting, I can't remember what the requirements were, but there was something extra you had to do. I think there was like an extra challenge on each of the 21 days. But that game is amazing on the whole. I probably will end up picking up a Switch just to play through it again.
Is it coming out on Switch?
They're doing like a final version release. And
Awesome.
It will all depend on how they twist those mechanics, because I was one of the few people that actually loved sort of having to do the touchscreen stuff and the D-pad stuff. I like the way you had to bounce the puck between the two, and if they can make that work on a single screen, then I'm behind it. But if not, I don't know.
Could get pretty ugly.
Oh, another one. Lucas from Mother 3.
Ooh.
That's one I need to play.
Because he's a stronger protag than Ness. Ness was pretty blank canvassy. Lucas was a little bit stronger.
I'd like to mention my custom protagonist from Dark Souls, because anyone with neon turquoise skin probably deserves it.
Yeah.
That's memorable in my book.
Extra points if you chose to wear nothing but a loincloth.
Yeah.
So last week I mentioned 2 series that had strong villains, those being Metal Gear Solid and Ace Attorney. Now this week I'm also going to bring it back and mention that they also have strong protagonists. So I think I love all of the Metal Gear protagonists. Solid Snake, Big Boss, and Raiden are all very strong protagonists. Even though people complain about Raiden, he's actually great, so shut your mouth. Ace Attorney, I can't say that Phoenix Wright is a great protagonist on his own, but I do love Apollo. And
if Larry Butts had his own game, he would be the best protag ever.
No, the best protagonist of any Ace Attorney game is Miles Edgeworth.
Yeah.
In the Investigations side series. He is a great antagonist, and he is an equally good protagonist.
I have 2 slightly cheating contenders. So the first one is Deadpool, who is a game protagonist. He had his own game.
Very
His game was really good. I think he works in game format actually better than he does in film or comic. Because you have those different intonations playing. It can cut to a different scene and make you live it. I loved the bit right at the beginning of the game where they ran out of budget and he's in this top-down Zelda type thing, and then he gives them a call and it turns back in, and they're like, all right, we'll give you more money. The other cheat is the entire cast of Broforce. Just for the puns, because I loved them. And it's actually a really good game and quite a funny way of ending it on the story. For anyone who has played it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I mean, it's second to Deadpool, but Broforce should be up there in terms of what you're buying.
Okay.
I know we've been pooping on him a little bit today, but I do think that Professor Layton is actually a good protagonist.
I don't know about how I feel about that, but sure.
I like his personality.
I'm not sure I agree either. I like the games, but I'm not sure I agree.
I love his personality.
I think he's bland AF, and also he's a Mary Sue. He is like what the term Mary Sue was invented for.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't.
And I can't
see
just.
the big...
I just can't give it to him.
Okay. Well. Okay.
But it's your nomination, so whatever.
That was the most passive-aggressive thing.
I just never really understood.
But, you can say it.
I just never really understood Mary Sue as like
I just can't relate
detraction
with-
from characters, I guess.
Nobody's perfect, and I don't want to see someone who is perfect. They make
Well, I
me
suppose
pissed off.
the thing with a Mary Sue is being able to. It's not even a case of being able to do things you shouldn't, because obviously you have superheroes and all kinds of other wacky things in store.
Yeah,
It's a case of your abilities being internally inconsistent in the world that you're building.
That's
Staying
or
grounded.
just being unrealistic. Like, you have no downside. Like, your traits are perfect. You have never once failed. Outside of circumstances that were beyond your control, like because of story, and
I get
all
that.
of that.
Stop it, Toast! You're making me blur.
But like the big, so I can see the criticism being lobbied towards Layton, but I also see this criticism lobbied towards Chiaki from Danganronpa 2 a lot. And I don't know, I just think when you're looking at a cross section of a character's life, you know, for them to be perfect over the span of like 5 days, like I can spend 5 days around somebody and not see like huge glaring faults with them or anything. Like, I can enjoy my time with them. I don't
But are
see it
those
as like a
5 days the
distraction.
most challenging times of their life where they've got to do things that they wouldn't in any other scenario?
Yeah, and Layton has like 10 games, and he's all perfect in all of them. And also, Chiaki has there's specific reasoning as to why she was Mary Sue-ish. Like, but
I know,
can't
but-
say them without getting spoilery. So she's a different case, I would say.
Yeah, I guess what I'm just saying is, as a general point, when I hear someone call a character a Mary Sue, I don't really take that as like an argument. I kind of write that off generally. And maybe
But,
that's just me
Toast, your
personally.
statement.
But anyway, that's just my personal onion there. Do we
Your
have
personal onion.
anyone else to mention?
Um,
There's just too many. Sam and Max.
I was
Sam and
thinking,
Max.
and this is probably my last one, is Bunny Lord from Not a Hero. So for anyone who hasn't played those games, Bunny Lord is a fictional big purple bunny rabbit who's running for elected office. And part of that campaign involves the characters you play as, so they're generally sort of generic stereotypes. So you have a Jesus wannabe, you have a Welsh Valley girl, but you have all these sort of character tropes and they have different abilities. And they all work for Bunny Lord doing things, and there are a few missions where you play as him as well. And I don't know, he's such an oddball, and it's sort of very nudge, nudge, wink, wink, because there's time travel involved, there's all kinds of stupid shit, but he very clearly knows what's going on, knows that it's done, in sort of a Deadpool fourth wall breaking kind of way. And there's a lot of nudges and a lot of understanding that I think really flesh him as.
Mhm. That's interested me in the game.
It's really cheap. If on sale, it goes for like $250. So,
That's now on the tab.
and that actually, funnily enough, plays relatively similarly to Deadpool, pixely, sort of 2D side-scrolling. Although that's more of a shooter than it is a stealth game, and it's definitely more action and less story-focused than Deadpool did. But they're both great.
Anything
Do we have
else
any-
anybody wants to add?
No, I'm all spent.
Okay, yeah, I think I got to the end of my completions. So, that's all she wrote, everybody. That'll bring to a close our first episode with a guest host. Thank you so
thank
you.
much for
Did it.
being here, Anthony.
It was my pleasure. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, we
And,
might want to have you back on someday, but
Whenever you want me back on, I would be glad to come back on.
No pressure, but it all depends on how good the VeggieTales edit.
We can have like a sequel, and it'll be like another one. He'll have like a whole series.
Dude! Yes!
I feel like
Listen.
a plan is forming, and I like it. So we are still looking for podcast hosts. If you're listening to this and you're interested in being on, I think we've got one lined up for next time.
for
haven't
next time, yep.
we?
I
But obviously,
believe we will be
from there onwards,
joined
we'll have to
by
set up a waiting list and slot you in somewhere.
Uvage, I don't actually know how it's pronounced, but I believe they will be joining us next time.
We know our first interview question.
Yup. First question. And we'll pronounce it like 3 different ways until we ask that question, and then even after we'll continue to pronounce it wrong.
Uvij.
I like it.
It will be like avuji, like so on such forth.
Alright, well, I hope you've enjoyed your time speaking with us, Anthony. It was excellent having you on board.
Yes.
Yeah. So, any final words? Any last words?
I watched Children of the Corn recently. Now, I did watch it with my friends, but people really give that movie too much shit. It's really I enjoyed it. I liked it. Come on, don't be so mean to it. That's my final thoughts. Children of the Corn, pretty good movie.
Okay.
Alright, tune in next time to the How Long to Beat podcast for more
Stephen King appreciation. Except I think all the movies aren't like. I don't know if there was a Stephen King movie I liked. Oh well.
Not even The
I
Shining?
will.
I don't like the Stanley Kubrick one. I actually hate Stanley Kubrick. Everything he does, I despise. I did like the mini-series, though, of The Shining. Oh, I like Rose Red. I really, really like Rose Red. That one's good.
Is that Stephen King or Stanley Kubrick?
That's Stephen King. It's like a giant mansion like The Shining, but it's not The Shining, and the house like eats people.
I've got in my backlog, I've got the movie adaptation of Gerald's Game.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But
so,
Haven't seen, so I can't tell you if it's good or not.
for those who aren't familiar, Gerald's Game is all about a husband and wife who are getting up to some stuff. The husband has a heart attack. The wife is cuffed up. And it's all about her struggling in this sort of closed room situation, trying to get out. That's my understanding from the blurb, anyway.
But the best Stephen King adaptation is actually Carrie the Musical.
That's a thing.
Ooh.
It sounded like I was being sarcastic there, didn't it? I'm not. It's actually great. It's awesome.
Oh, I don't like musicals. I hate musicals. I had to watch I went to watch White Christmas live last year, and I felt bad because that was a lot of money that went down the drain to watch some people sing.
Well, I mean, that's like a Golden Age musical, and Golden Age musicals aren't very good.
I've seen musicals in many different forms. I did not enjoy any of them. I don't think we're going to change my mind on this topic.
This is why we never hit a time, because we try to finish up, and then we end up talking about Stephen King and musicals. This is just what happened.
There's also a Moby Dick musical. There's a not a 1984 musical. They wanted it to be a musical, but it turned into a stage play. There's a Jekyll and Hyde musical.
There's a 1984 ballet.
That doesn't surprise me.
There were posters for it around my hometown a couple of years ago. And it looked relatively big budget. I think it was Royal North.
My parents really wanted to see the Christmas Story musical. So I don't know if that one's good or not, but my parents wanted to go see the crap out of that. Hope it was
I've only
good.
seen the play, not the musical. So, next time we will have a musical episode where we will sing every word that we say.
Well, we're still waiting on your Donkey Kong singing. So,
Oh, shoot,
Yeah.
you're right.
yeah, we're not going to let you forget about that.
I can mix that in with the Veggie Tales if you want me to.
Yes, please. We are.
If Kerf can provide.
Provide the vocals.
Well,
Oh, hell yeah.
I thought that the stipulation was that I was doing it live.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought there was a recording.
But
of
it wouldn't be live for anybody.
Well, yeah, but
That's
it would be live for you.
I don't want to... I want to listen to the pretty version, not like the...
Oh.
I thought
You're not gonna go. You're gonna see the Donkey Kong live show.
I don't want to see it live. I want
I
the
wonder-
pretty one.
Ooh, I wonder if there is a Donkey Kong musical. I know there's a
There
Teenage
is.
Mutant Ninja Turtles musical.
Oh wait, no, there was a TV show that had musical
Had music
bits
in it,
but-
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think one of their songs that like still haunts me to this day is "I Love You More Than Like like it was like a giant banana, and it was like the most horrendous like CGI. It was not good.
I can play some of the songs from the Donkey Kong show on guitar. There's one called Pirate Scorn.
You have officially plateaued.
It is a bang.
Damn. And on that note,
Sorry, Kurt.
You have so much to look forward to. We're going to have a musical episode. I'm gonna rap for you. It's gonna be. That's gonna be where we jump the shark.
And then we do become how long to eat because there's no more to talk about.
All right.
So next week, 10 ways to prepare an avocado.
I want this to be over, so I can just go up to eat. Like
It will
I'm
never
supposed
be
to.
over.
Go on, we'll let Toast have a moment.
All right. Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.